I want to inhale the pages of this book, grind them up, and snort them right up my nose.
Right. An energetic endorsement, though perhaps not a recommended method of consumption. We are, I believe, supposed to be discussing Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami.
Supposed to be. But one reviewer literally said that wants it in their bloodstream. Forget intravenous drips, just mainline the melancholy which, apparently, this book has in spades. 1960s Tokyo. Grief, love, loss sounds like a real upper.
The descriptions do suggest a focus on melancholic themes. It's framed as a coming-of-age story. Toru Watanabe reflecting on his college years. Complex relationships, particularly with two women, Naoko and Midori, against a backdrop of student protests, apparently.
Student protests and, well, let's just say the reviewers suggest it's essentially about two things: sex and death. A winning combination for family game night, wouldn't you say?
That particular summary, sex and death, was indeed noted. It seems to be a point of low, significant division among readers, particularly the handling of female characters and the sexual content.
Division, more like a chasm, a gaping maw of disagreement. You've got people saying the characters are so terribly, tragically real, some of the most human they've ever read. And then, mere inches away in the comments section, you have folks screaming, why are they all acting, and saying these things around the main character, and calling the female characters completely untrue. Who do we believe, the sensitive souls or the bewildered masses?
It presents a contradiction, certainly. One perspective finds profound realism. The other finds the female characters lacking authenticity. There were specific complaints. Some felt the women were treated as objects, or solely characterized by their trauma.
Objects, trauma, it sounds like a recipe for disaster. Or, according to some, a recipe for manic pixie dream girls. That trope came up. Especially for Midori, the vivacious one. Vivacious like a fire alarm during a nap, perhaps. One reviewer said her floaty bimbo-like dialogue grated on my nerves.
Midori was described as the anti-Naoko. Energetic, optimistic. Though some did find her portrayal unrealistic, yes. Naoko, the other main female character, was seen by some as a doomed heroine we wish to save, deeply affected by grief and mental illness.
Naoko, the fragile one. Though some weren't buying the fragility. Called her needy, dysfunctional, even manipulative. One particularly charitable soul declared, she isn't fighting demons, she is the demon. Bit harsh for someone supposedly struggling, wouldn't you say?
The interpretations vary wildly, which brings us to the narrator, Toru Watanabe. He seems to be another lightning rod.
Lightning rod. He sounds like the eye of the storm, described simultaneously as relatable, honest, sincere, a stabilizing force. We all wish we had a Toru, one person gushed, and also, get this, alarmingly callous, misogynistic, and dull, and the most painfully obvious author insert wish fulfillment vehicle ever written. So, he's either your dream best friend or a sentient cardboard cutout with questionable morals. Pick a lane, Toru.
The descriptions are polarized. Callous and misogynistic appear frequently in the negative assessments. There was a specific quote attributed to him. Something about potentially forcing Midori.
I might end up forcing you. Yes, charming. One reviewer rightly asked, you expect me to sympathize with Toru when he says stuff like this? Makes you wonder about the wish fulfillment angle, doesn't it? Whose wish? Exactly.
It raises questions, and the sexual content itself, another battlefield. Some found it natural, part of the story's fabric. Others.
Let's see, weird, clinical, awkward, gratuitous, nonsensical, unerotic, gross, disgusting. One reviewer even lamented comparisons of female characters to babies or kids during sexual scenes. Yikes, that's not just a red flag, that's a whole parade of them waving frantically.
That specific comparison, she had the breast of a little girl, was cited as a major issue for at least one reader. And then there's the quote attributed to Toru's thoughts during intercourse. Imperfect lumps of flesh.
Oh, romance. Darling, let us rub our imperfect lumps together. Swoon. And Midori, our supposed firestorm of practicability, apparently talks about wanting to go to S&M clubs where girls... Well, let's just say it involves bodily functions and public humiliation, and she calls it her favorite. Is this realism? Or just trying way too hard to be edgy?
The reactions suggest many found it jarring, which leads us to perhaps the most intensely discussed scene, according to reviewers, Reiko's backstory.
Ah yes, Reiko's fireside chat of horrors. The reviewers did not hold back on this one. We're talking descriptions like shocking scene of lesbian pedophilia, bizarre and creepy, fetishizing, disturbing, unpleasant, grim. One asked, why do male authors seem incapable of talking about sexual assault without fetishizing it? A fair question, a very fair question.
It clearly provoked strong negative reactions. The summary flags this as sensitive content, noting reviewers discussed non-consensual acts involving a minor. It seems to be a major point of contention regarding the author's handling of trauma.
Fetishized trauma. Is that like artisanal suffering, handcrafted misery porn? And then you have a fan theory, apparently suggesting Reiko made the whole thing up to manipulate Naoko into something final, which is certainly a take.
An imaginative interpretation, though the predominant reaction seems to be revulsion at the content as presented. It ties into the broader themes of mental illness and suicide, which reviewers noted are pervasive. 4 suicides, one counted. Another called it a strong theme that permeates the pages.
Permeates, like cheap air freshener in a morgue. It sounds heavy, which might explain why one reviewer's wife apparently just chucked the book across the room at him. Said, why don't these people just stop moaning and get a life? A pragmatic approach.
That anecdote was detailed. It highlights the frustration some felt with the characters' perceived wallowing. Yet others found the exploration of grief, loneliness, and depression deeply moving. Emotionally devastating, completely wrecking me, takes a piece of you, cried like a baby.
Wrecked, like my faith in consistent reviewer opinions. How can it be both beyond awful and abhorrent, never write again, and one of the best love stories I have ever read? How can the writing be beautiful, poetic, lyrical, making someone feel like Nicole Kidman apparently, while also describing sex as gross and comparing women to children? Make it make sense.
The contradictions are stark. Even the ending is debated. One of Murakami's clearest endings versus ending is very frustrating or baffled me. It seems designed to provoke strong, often opposing feelings.
Okay, listeners, here's one for you. Straight from the heart of this mess, reviewers debated Toru's choices regarding Naoko. Was his sense of obligation noble, a deep connection born of shared grief? Or was it unhealthy, enabling, trapping them both? Let us know. I probably think he just forgot her phone number. Send your theories on a postcard, addressed to Noah Man.
A provocative question. It touches on the core moral dilemmas reviewers grappled with: responsibility, the nature of love and loss, the ethics of representation.
Representation? We got an email from a listener. It says, that Reiko character totally fabricated the creepy story about the kid. The reviewers calling it fetishized are missing the meta. Commentary, she was fetishizing the act of lying itself. It's genius, stop being so literal. What do you say to that? Am I a magnificent oracle?
And enthusiastic listener, their theory aligns with the fan interpretation mentioned earlier, though, again, the direct textual reactions focused more on the disturbing nature of the scene itself. But it shows the book inspires creative thinking.
Creative thinking or desperate justification. The line is thin. So, final verdict time. Do we recommend this journey into the heart of, well, whatever this is?
It's difficult to offer a simple recommendation, given the extreme polarization. The prose is widely praised for its beauty and atmosphere. The exploration of themes like grief and memory resonates deeply with many. However, the portrayal of female characters, the handling of sex and trauma, particularly Raiko's story, and the protagonist's perceived flaws are significant points of controversy and potential triggers for readers.
Right, so, for Norwegian Wood, I'm inventing a scale, the flick it across the room scale. Based on that one reviewer's marital strife, I give it 4 out of 5 potential book-chucking incidents, primarily fueled by the questionable sexual politics and the sheer weight of all that beautiful sadness. But I'll add back half a point for the prose that makes people want to snort the pages. Final score, a deeply confusing 4-point airborne novels.
An unconventional metric. Ultimately, the reviews suggest Norwegian Wood is a book that demands a reaction. You might find it profound and beautiful, a masterpiece of emotional depth, or you might find it problematic, disturbing, even, as one reviewer put it, disgusting.
Yeah, basically, you might love it, or you might want to join that reviewer who lives in terror of anyone who gave it more than 1 star.
Precisely. It seems reading it is the only way to determine which side of that divide you fall on. Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. Find out for yourself.
Next week, we're diving into a self-help guide allegedly written by a sentient, slightly judgmental houseplant. Bring your fertilizer.
I look forward to it with moderate anticipation. This has been Heart Book Radio.
And Imre, remember, don't feel sorry for yourself. Only, well, you know the rest.